Hello and welcome to the 10th edition of Sports Talk Live. We have some very exciting news to announce. Sports Talk Live now has its own website. You got to check us out. It's sportstalklive.net. From there you can access all of our episodes and much, much more.
Yeah, and it's really cool because now you can access both our Facebook and our Twitter pages from the site, which is really convenient for our audience.
But my favorite part is the blog. You can write us questions, give us your opinions, whatever you want. And there's even a place to access our poll questions. I'm really excited about it. Be sure to check it out.
Let's get into our first topic today. The men's baseball team unfortunately had its 20-game winning streak broken this past weekend, dropping 2 games against Shippensburg on Saturday. They are now sitting comfortable with a 25-3 overall record and 10-2 in the conference. Riley Taylor, how about you break down this past week for us?
Now, even though we did lose 2 games to Shippensburg over the weekend, I really don't think it's much to worry about. We're still sitting at 25-3 and atop the Psac at 10-2, so I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah, we played uncharacteristically sloppy. We had 5 errors in the combined 2 games, and with a shaky pitching performance the second game, I don't think that's going to keep up, and I think that we're going to play better the next couple games.
Adding on to what you two said, you can't expect the bats to show up every game. That's just unrealistic. And we have to be happy about where we're sitting right now. Hopefully they can hop right back on the horse after this little bit of a slump, if you even want to call it that. But now let's move on to my favorite part of the show, Rate That Play. Taking a look at last week's poll, Chris Pula's one-handed grab took the #1 spot, receiving 60% of the votes. Let's kick off this week with our first play.
In our first play, Dylan Zigman comes off the bench and lines one down the left field line, which gets all the way to the wall. By the time the left fielder gets to it and gets it in, he's in there with a stand-up double and an RBI.
Yeah, Zigman really did a good job on this one. Coming off the bench, he was ready to go, and he really got a hold of this one.
Riley, it's nice to see Dylan Zigman, doesn't usually play, get a nice double and help the team. He only has 12 at-bats on the year, so in this play, I'm going to give it a 7.
Yeah, you're right. It's nice to see guys step up, and coming off the bench, step up and make plays in certain situations, but it was just a regular double, so I'm only going to give it a 6.
I agree with what you two were saying. I really think it's nice to see someone who usually doesn't get in, step in and get the job done. As you were saying, he has 12 at-bats in the season. He's batting over 400 with those limited at-bats, so it's nice to see because, later on in the season we might need him to step up, and obviously he showed that he could do that. I'm going to give this play a 7. Chris Pula in our second play rips one to the pitcher. Looks like it's going to be easy out, but East Stroudsburg can't handle it. The ball gets away, and here comes Joe Wendell rounding third, and he's going to try to score. Here comes the play at the plate. He's in there safe. And now the throw down the second, Pula is in a pickle here. But look, he finds his way out of it and gets safe in at second base.
Now it looks like Pula gets caught in the baseline here, but somehow avoids the tag. Debate on whether he went out of the baseline, but the umpire calls him safe.
Now this was a really weird play. It should have been a sure out, but the pitcher threw the ball away, and our guy ended up scoring from second, and our batter ended up on second base. So even though it was like a sloppy play on their part, I really like the hustle, so I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah, Riley, the base running done by the Golden Rams was great, but like you said, it was really sloppy, and I just think that they should have made the play from the beginning, so I'm only going to give it a 4.
Well, this was definitely my favorite play of the week, just a really uncharacteristic play. Off the bat, it looked like he was going to have at least 1 out, if not 2, but in the end, it was great hustle by all the base runners to get where they needed to be. And then in the end, it was a little bit of a pickle, exciting coming down between second and third base. A little bit of a controversy because was he out of the base pass or not, but the call went our way. I really like this one. I'm giving it a 9.
A little bit of small ball on our third play as Josh Hine lays down the perfect bunt and he beats out the throw, advancing both runners.
All he really wanted to do here was get the bunt down and move the runner, but it was such a nice bunt that he was able to beat it out and be safe at first.
In this play, we see a bunt, and I'm a big proponent of the small ball. Not everyone can lay down a bunt as easy as it might sound. In this play, he did a great job, so I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah, you're right. You couldn't have asked for a better bunt there, but let's keep in mind that what is a bunt, so I'm going to just bump it down just a little bit and give it a 7.
Well, I agree. I love the small ball too, and it was a perfectly executed bunt. But in the end, everyone, in my opinion, should be able to get the bunt down. So I can't give it too high of a rating. I'm going to give it a 6. In our last play today, Matt Kirshner rips one. This one has a chance to leave the yard, but it drops in around the warning track. By the time the left fielder gets to it, he's throwing it in, and Matt's sliding in safe at third base.
Matt really got a hold of that one, but it looked like it had a real good chance of leaving the yard, but the left fielder eased up a little bit, allowing it to drop in just in front of the wall.
Well, this was a pretty exciting play. The ball really hung up in the air for a while, and it made everyone question if it was going to leave the ballpark or if it was going to be caught. Luckily, it bounced over around by the warning track, and he was able to hustle all around and get a triple. I really like this play. I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, just the pure hustle and the effort that he made. A lot of guys would just stop at second and just take the double, but in this instance, he went ahead and went for the triple and got it. So I'm going to give it an 8 as well.
Yeah, you're both right. You don't see many triples to left field. But in my opinion, the outfielder kind of misplayed it, or he was kind of cautious about the wall, and he saw that, and that might have played a part in why he dropped it, or why he dropped in. So I'm going to bump down and give it a 7.
Now remember, that was just our ratings, but you can go onto our website and vote for which play was your favorite. That's all we have for baseball. Let's move on and take a look at women's lacrosse. The Lady Rams are at 8-1 after winning their last 4 games. Taylor, what is it that's causing their recent success?
Well, Brian, here the offense for the Lady Rams is just killing it. In their last 4 games, they've averaged 17 goals a game, and they have not scored less than 10 goals in any game this season, which is a big reason why they are 9th ranked in the country.
A major reason for the Lady Rams' recent success is due to the impressive numbers put up by junior midfielder Lauren Glassy. In the last 2 games this past week, Glassy recorded 14 points off 11 goals and 3 assists. She's been a major contributor all season for Westchester, and that is why it's no doubt that Lauren Glassy is Sports Talk Live's Ram of the Week.
Now, even though our women's lacrosse team is doing very well, their true test is still yet to come as they face 4 straight ranked teams at home, starting with number 1 Lemoyne on Monday. Let's hope they can continue their hot offense as they approach the toughest part of their schedule.
Let's move on and take a look at track and field. The Psac championships are coming up in the beginning of May. Riley, Taylor, how about you talk about the qualifiers we have to represent Westchester in this big event?
On the women's side, the Lady Rams had 4 girls qualify for the championships. Brittany Boyer qualified for the 3,000 meter. Melanie Ruff qualified for the 200 meter after capturing first place in her last meet. Rachel Wynn will be competing in the steeplechase, and Sam Schmarkola qualified in the long jump.
Now, looking at the men, they had 3 qualifiers. Nick Drozd will be competing in the 400-meter hurdles. Curran Kneebone qualified in the 10,000 meters, and to finish it up, Jake Perry will be running in the 800 meters. That's all we have for track and field. Let's finish up with some Outside the Horns.
To start off here on Outside the Horns, we're going to turn to our Facebook page to answer some questions. Tim Mulqueen asked, what do you guys have to say about our Phillies start? Unlucky or just simply lack of offense?
Well, I don't think luck has anything to do with it. I think our bats are just not showing up very well right now, and they need to find consistency if we want to stay in the pennant race, because we could be down a couple games real quick.
Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, do you think that's a factor?
Oh, absolutely. You got 2 huge holes there with them being out till possibly the All-Star break, and they need to find a solution and a way to get by until then.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but just remember, guys, it's only been 4 games so far, and, it's a long season, it's a marathon, and with our pitching we have, which has been, great so far, even this year, I just think that we still have a really good shot, even without those guys.
You are right, it is just 4 games, but you guys have to remember that our hitting was struggling all of last year too, in a lot of parts of last year, so I think we need to figure something out. We have to change something. I liked a few years ago we had Milt Thompson as our hitting coach. I thought he really did a good job. We have to figure something out, but in the end we do have really good players. I think we should be able to get the job done if we just pick up our hitting a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, if we hang around, come August, September, I think it's ours for the taking with the experience we have.
Right, but again, you just have to remember that some of these guys are getting older too. So hopefully, with a couple young guys they're bringing up to the system, that eventually, they'll come up and we'll be able to keep this up throughout the season.
What do you guys think? You think they're going to make another?
Yeah, I think they're going to take it.
You think they're going to win the World Series? You think they're going to make another?
I think they'll win the division. I want to wait a little bit before I say I think they're going to make it to the World Series.
Okay, but you do think they'll win the division?
Yes.
What about you?
I agree. I think it's going to be a tough, though. With Washington, the Braves, even the Mets off to this great
and the
start.
Marlins.
Right. I mean, they're all playing well. So for me, I think it's going to be a tough one. But I do see them squeaking it out and making the playoffs. After that, all bets are off.
Yeah, hopefully we can see, again what they did, like they did in 2008, and we'll see what happens.
Right.
Our last question of the day was asked by avid viewer George Lewis. George asked, hey guys, I think the question everyone is wondering is, will the Fly Guys beat Pittsburgh in the first round?
Well, this may be my biased opinion, but I think the Flyers have the better team in this matchup. And I think looking at last week, they're really mad about what happened and, all that controversy. And I think they're going to take that into consideration and really use that to help them. And that's why I think they're going to be able to pull it out and win the series.
Now, how many games do you see them winning it in?
I'm going to guess Flyers in 6.
Flyers in 6. What do you think?
For me, again, don't get on me, but I think the Pittsburgh has a really good team. I like the Flyers. I think they have more heart, But overall, I think it's going to go down to Game 7. That's how close I think these guys are. And I'm going to say Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, guys.
Ooh, now I
What about
disagree with
you?
you. I disagree with you. I'm with Brian on this one. I like the Flyers. I like the matchup. We've taken 4 out of 6 this year from them.
Right.
You know, we're going to take from last Saturday into consideration. We're going to take that to heart and use that as kind of revenge. And I think they're going to come out firing, play passionate, play with heart. And I think the Flyers in 5 or 6.
What do you see about the Penguins? Why do you think they're so
I mean,
dominant?
I think the Penguins, again, with Crosby back and Malkin having a great year, not saying that a lot of the Flyers haven't had great years, but I just think that for them, I think they have a little bit too much. And I think that with Brizgalov, good and bad and kind of shaky sometimes, I think that he might have a couple bad games. He might lose at the end.
Who's their MVP for the Penguins?
Crosby.
So I got one problem with that because they're 2 guys, they've been quoted as being a little soft. And the Flyers have been known to try and get in people's heads. I think they'll be able to do that this series, and that might be the difference.
We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yep.
Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Sports Talk Live. Remember to visit our new website, sportstalklive.net. Vote on our poll question or write on our blog. We'll be here next week, same time, same place. Take it easy, Westchester.